Lions Nation, something is brewing in Allen Park right now that could completely reshape our defensive identity for years to come. Welcome to Lions News Fan Report, your home for everything Detroit Lions, where you get the freshest updates, the hottest rumors, and the most in-depth analysis on our beloved team. Stay locked in with me because what I'm about to break down today could be the answer to one of our biggest questions heading into the offseason, and trust me, you're going to want to hear every single detail of this. Look, I know these last few weeks have been tough. The emotions are running high, the frustration is real, and yeah, some of you are already looking ahead to April. But here's the thing. Even with 14 different playoff scenarios still alive, we need to start thinking about how this roster evolves. And when I talk about evolution, I'm talking about addressing the elephant in the room, that pass rush situation that's been haunting us all season long. Brad Holmes has proven time and time again that he knows how to identify talent. The man has an eye for finding difference makers in places others overlook. And right now, there's a name circulating in draft circles that fits exactly what we need, a player who brings explosive athleticism, relentless motor, and the kind of production that jumps off the stat sheet. We're talking about someone who's been absolutely terrorizing offensive tackles all season long, leading the entire nation in a category that matters most for edge rushers. Before I reveal who this player is, let me paint you a picture of where we are defensively. Aidan Hutchinson has been everything we hoped for, and more. But football is a team sport, and you can't win with just one dominant edge rusher. Teams have been scheming around Hutch all season, sliding protection his way, chipping him with running backs and tight ends, doing everything possible to neutralize him. And when that happens, we need someone on the opposite side who can make them pay. That's been our Achilles heel, and that's exactly what the front office is going to prioritize. Now, let's talk about the draft positioning. We're sitting at the 17th pick right now, and while that's not where any of us wanted to be at the start of the season, it puts us in an interesting spot. There are some elite talents that could be available, but there's also the possibility of maneuvering, of getting creative with trades to maximize value. Holmes has shown he's not afraid to move around the board, to trade back for extra picks, or trade up for his guy. That flexibility is crucial in today's NFL. Here's where things get really interesting. Imagine a scenario where Holmes trades back just a couple of spots, picks up an extra third-round selection, and still lands a premier edge rusher. That's the kind of chess move that builds championship rosters. You get your impact player and additional ammunition to address other needs. It's about being smart, strategic, and maximizing every single asset. So who am I talking about? Who's this player that could transform our pass rush? His name is David Bailey, and he plays for Texas Tech. Now, before you dismiss this because he's not from some traditional powerhouse program, let me hit you with the numbers that matter. This season alone, Bailey has racked up 70 pressures. Let me repeat that, 70 pressures. That leads the entire nation right now. He's also got 13 sacks to his name, and we're talking about a guy who does this against Big 12 competition, facing some quality offensive tackles week in and week out. Bailey stands out because he's got that rare combination of length and explosiveness that you absolutely need on the edge in today's NFL. He's got the athletic profile that defensive coordinators dream about, the kind of guy who can bend around the corner, who has the burst to beat tackles with speed, and the length to disengage when they try to get hands on him. These are the physical tools that translate directly to the professional level. Now, I want to be real with you because that's what we do here. Bailey isn't a finished product. There are areas where he needs development, specifically in the run-stopping game. He can get washed out by bigger, more physical tackles when they get into his body. But here's the beautiful part. The Lions are actually pretty solid against the run already. We've got guys like Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader who eat up blocks and clog running lanes. That means we have the luxury of bringing in an edge rusher who can focus primarily on getting after the quarterback while he develops the other aspects of his game. Think about what Aaron Glenn has done with our defense when he has the right pieces. He's creative, he's aggressive, and he knows how to maximize his players' strengths while minimizing their weaknesses. A player like Bailey would be perfect for Glenn's system. You can move him around, line him up in different spots, give offensive coordinators different looks, and let him pin his ears back and hunt quarterbacks. That's exactly what we need. Let me put this in perspective for you. 70 pressures in a college season is absolutely elite production. That's not just beating your guy once or twice a game. That's consistent disruption, play after play, game after game. And here's what's crucial. Pressures matter just as much as sacks in the modern NFL. When you're forcing quarterbacks to get the ball out early, when you're disrupting timing routes, when you're making them uncomfortable in the pocket, you're affecting the entire offensive operation. That's what Bailey brings. And let's talk about the draft class as a whole. There are a few plug-and-play edge rushers available this year, guys who can come in and contribute immediately. Bailey is absolutely in that conversation. Some analysts have him going in the late teens, early 20s, which is right where we'd be picking if we execute that trade-back scenario. The value would be incredible. You get an extra third-round pick, you still land your premier edge rusher, and you've got more flexibility to address other positions. Speaking of other positions, let's be honest about the complete picture here. Edge rusher isn't our only need. We've got questions on the offensive line. We could use depth at tight end after the injuries we've dealt with this year. And there are always opportunities to add talent in the secondary. That extra third-round pick could be the difference between addressing 3 major needs versus just 2. That's how you build sustainable success. But back to Bailey. One thing I love about his game is the motor. This isn't a guy who takes plays off. You watch his film, and he's going hard every single snap, chasing plays down from the backside, pursuing running backs 20 yards downfield, constantly hustling. That's the kind of mentality that fits perfectly with the culture Holmes and Dan Campbell have built here. We want dogs. We want guys who play with relentless effort, and Bailey absolutely fits that profile. There's also something to be said about the chip on his shoulder factor. Bailey didn't go to Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State. He went to Texas Tech, and he's had to prove himself every step of the way. Those are often the guys who have the most success in the NFL because they're used to being doubted. They're used to having to earn everything they get. That hunger, that drive to prove people wrong, that's invaluable. Now, let's project what this could look like. Imagine next season. Aiden Hutchinson on one side, David Bailey on the other. Offensive coordinators would have nightmares trying to game plan against that. You can't just focus all your attention on Hutch anymore because Bailey is coming from the other side with that explosive first step and those long arms. Suddenly, our entire defense elevates because the quarterback doesn't have time to sit back there and pick us apart. The secondary doesn't have to cover as long. The run defense stays stout because we're not in obvious passing situations as often. Everything connects. And here's something else to consider. Bailey is still developing. His best football is ahead of him. When you draft a player like this, you're not just getting what he is now. You're investing in what he can become with proper coaching and development. The Lions have shown they can develop players. Look at what they've done with guys across the roster. Bailey would be walking into an ideal situation to maximize his potential. I also want to talk about the leadership aspect. Josh Paschal and Levi Onwuzurike might not be back next season, which means we need to replenish that edge rusher room. Bailey could come in and learn from Hutch, absorb everything from a guy who's already established himself as one of the premier pass rushers in the league. That mentorship, that daily competition in practice, that's how young players accelerate their development. The timing of this potential move makes so much sense, too. We're in a window right now where Jared Goff is playing at an MVP level, where we've got offensive weapons all over the field, where our coaching staff has proven they can compete with anybody. What's been holding us back? Defensive consistency, particularly in the pass rush. Address that. And suddenly we're not just playoff contenders, we're legitimate Super Bowl threats. Let me also address the elephant in the room. Some of you might be thinking we should focus on other positions first. I get it. But here's the reality in today's NFL. You cannot win without being able to rush the passer. It's the second most important thing in football after quarterback play. Every single Super Bowl champion in recent memory has had a dominant pass rush. It's not optional, it's mandatory. And if Bailey is sitting there at 19 after we trade back, you absolutely pull that trigger. The beauty of potentially trading back is that it doesn't cost us the opportunity to get our guy. We're moving back 2 spots from 17 to 19, and we're picking up significant draft capital in return. That's the kind of savvy maneuvering that championship front offices execute. You're not reaching, you're not overdrafting, you're getting value while still landing impact talent. I'm genuinely excited about this possibility. Bailey represents everything we need: production, athleticism, upside, and the right mentality. He's a guy who can come in and contribute immediately while still having room to grow into an even better player. That's the sweet spot for draft picks, especially in the middle of the first round. So here's where we are, Lions Nation. David Bailey is a name you need to know, a player who could be wearing Honolulu blue come April. 70 pressures leading the nation, 13 sacks, elite athletic profile, and the kind of motor that fits perfectly with what we're building here. If Brad Holmes can execute a trade back, pick up extra assets, and still land Bailey, that would be an absolute home run for this organization. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about David Bailey as a potential Lion? Does he fit what we need? Would you be excited about pairing him with Hutch on the edge? And what about that trade back scenario? Do you like the idea of moving back a couple spots to pick up an extra third rounder? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I read every single one, and I love hearing your perspectives on these moves. And listen, if you want to stay on top of every single Lions development, every rumor, every piece of breaking news, you need to subscribe to Lions News Fan Report right now. Hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell, and join our community of die-hard Lions fans who refuse to miss a single update. We're building something special here, just like our team is building something special in Detroit. Share this video with your fellow Lions fans. Let's get the conversation going about how we're going to build this roster into a championship contender. The future is bright, Lions Nation, and I cannot wait to see how this all unfolds. One pride, always and forever.